today at our next generation prompt lab. We're super excited for you guys to be here. We'll be exploring some basics of generative AI. We'll also be talking about prompt engineering. And then we'll talk about how you can use Gen AI and prompt engineering together to help accelerate your career. To start, here's kind of like our agenda. I did go through it a little bit, but you'll notice at the end, some of the breakdowns is we'll talk about using Gen AI for educational upskilling, and we'll also go through how you can use AI tools to help with your resume, interview prep, and also personal branding. Awesome. So quick introduction. I'm Elena, and today I'm joined here with...
I'm Andrea.
And...
Aldrich.
And we are from Southern Glazers, a large wine and spirits distribution company. So it's a fun industry. We get to sell alcohol. But yeah, so Ulrich over here is one of Southern's great power users of generative AI. I feel like he was always knocking on my team's door to, want to get involved with AI projects, to learn more about use cases. And so I'm going to pass it over to Ulrich quickly to kind of explain or give some insights on how he's seen AI transforming our current workforce.
For me, it'll be more of a Q&A. I started to use the AI tools after meeting Elena here. She brought it to my office. We started to play with it, and then I became one of the biggest power users. If anything could be broken, I've been able to break it. That's why I'm here today. But for this presentation, what we're going to talk about are different examples of how you can use it into planning for job search, updating your resume, but also planning for your career. I've used it extensively myself as I study. I went back to school and I needed to print a lot of information to create flashcards, and I leveraged the tool to create flashcards. Another example where I was able to use it in my team, we built custom agents to help us navigate complex decisions when building. An average, for example, I need to contact 5 different folks on the team to make a decision. By using Gen AI and using agents, we're able to take those decisions, mine through them, and use an agent to replace having several meetings. My goals over the next 3 to 5 years is to build as many agents as possible on the team and interconnect the agents to allow us to have a better flow of work and allow all the developers and engineers to be able to leverage the information we have gathered over email, over text messages, over documents, SharePoint, team sites, was to integrate everything into Gen AI. That's my goal with the team over the next 3 to 5 years. And she's been an amazing force at helping me, educating me, and pretty much that's why I'm here, to share my experience.
Yeah, awesome. And I do highly recommend everyone to ask Ulrich all the questions you may have at the end. He does give really good career advice, and he's been in the field for too long.
Too old.
Well, he's been great at he does. But yeah, so that's a little bit about us. To start, what is generative AI? I'm sure a lot of you guys have some ideas of that, but to put it briefly, Gen AI is a type of AI that's able to generate new content. So that new content can be text, images, music, videos, and more. So it does this by looking over complex data and responding to something called prompts. A couple of generative AI philosophies that we like to share. The first is think of Gen AI as your intern, not your expert. So Gen AI is a tool and it's here to assist you, but it's still learning, it's still improving. So treat its suggestions as more of a first draft or starting point, not as like the final product. The second one is Gen AI is powerful, but not perfect. Gen AI will make mistakes at some point. It's not like if it makes mistakes or you can prompt so well that it's never going to make mistakes. Gen AI will make mistakes. And so it's very important for you guys to check over any work that's created by Gen AI. This third one, at this point, you can see it's repeating a little bit. We just want to really emphasize that Gen AI is a tool and it's there to help you accelerate in your work, but it's not there to replace you. So treat it like your co-pilot, your navigation system, not as your autopilot or auto drive.
So now I will be walking you through how to engineer prompts.
But wait, Andrea, what is a prompt?
Great question. Can you tell us, Elena, what a prompt is?
Yeah, I'll give anyone here want to give that a shot first, or
The instruction we give AI be able to be done.
perfect. Anyone else? You guys do all have computers right in front of you, so I don't mind some searching for answers. But yeah, great answer. Almost exactly what I had on my slide. But yeah, prompts are that input or instruction you give to the AI model to create a response. So that input can be like a question such as, what's the latest market share for XYZ? Or how do I do this? But it can also be a statement or more of a command where you're telling the AI tool to help you with something like generate this report or update this draft or summarize this document. So prompts any kind of text that gives the AI guidance as to what kind of an output you're expecting. So we like to compare prompting like having a conversation with either like an assistant or like a new intern, where they're there to help you. They have access to the internet to kind of supplement their knowledge, but it is on you as that manager to kind of provide them with the clear instructions and context so that way they're able to perform their job to the best of their ability. So similarly, if an intern were to come to you with some work that's been done, as a manager, you check that before you submit it for publication or use it in something else, because you can't blame AI if something's incorrect. Just like I guess you could blame an intern, but that's kind of like bad practice. So, yeah. Okay, awesome. Now back to you on how to engineer a prompt.
So really what differentiates a very generic, unhelpful response from Gen AI and getting exactly what you want is one thing, it's how you structure your prompt. And so that comes down to prompt engineering. I'll start us off with a question. What's the first thing you think of when you hear engineer?
Math.
Math,
Cars,
cars, designing, physics, very technical things. That's why here we have engineering in quotes. It's a little deceiving. Prompt engineering is actually not technical at all. It's more of a communication skill. So it's an exercise on how you instruct the Gen AI to give you the response effectively. As he said earlier, it's basically instructions for the tool so that it can give you the response you want. For prompt engineering, there's no math involved, but we have an equation to create the best prompt possible. You don't always have to use all of the components, but it's recommended the more detailed your request is, the more detailed your response will be. And so moving into our first component, it's the goal. Every prompt is going to have a goal. It's you asking what you want your tool to do. So what do you want from the Gen AI tool? Here we have an example. You can ask, update my resume. But if you were to ask an intern or your assistant, update my resume, they might look at you confused. They might say, where do I get this information from? What do you want me to update it with? So that moves us into our second component, context. This is where you give the tool the why, the purpose of your prompt. Why do you need it and who is involved? So you can't just say update my resume. To improve our prompt, you can say update my resume so that I can send it to recruiters and maximize my chances of being selected for interviews. Now the tool has some more context. It starts tailoring its response to better fit your needs. Moving on to the third component, expectations. This is the how of your prompt. How is it going to give you your response and how do you want it? This is where you can specify if you want it in bullet form, paragraph form. You can also ask it to, take on the persona of a career coach so that it can give you the response based on how a career coach would and advise you in that way. So here we add another sentence. Act as an expert career coach known for helping clients acquire their dream jobs. And so this is again, helping tailor your prompt so that it will give you the best response. And then our last component is the source. This is the where. Where is it going to get the information from for your resume? Again, not every prompt needs a source, but in this case, you're asking it to update your resume, so it might be helpful to include your current resume, some projects you're working on, any supporting documentation. So that way it can really tailor the response to best fit your needs. You can also say, tailor my resume to match this job posting, and then paste the job posting URL. And so finally, we have the final prompt with all these components, and here you can read all of it put together.
Thank you, Andrea. I think at this point, we'll pause real quickly to see if everyone's following along. If there's any questions, feel free to, I guess you guys just say it, but people in the webinar to drop it in the chat. If you guys feel like you're good to go on, give a thumbs up, either live or virtually, so we know we can continue. Woo. Awesome. Right. So now we'll start diving into some of our use cases that we'll be sharing about generative AI. We'll be sharing some live demos with prompts. You guys are welcome to try and follow along on your own devices. I'll be using Copilot. However, you can use any Gen AI tool of your choice, or I don't know what you guys have access to here, but yeah. And
This is a good chart. I was studying to pass my wine certification level 2. And can you guess how many grapes exist in Italy? Take a wild guess, how many different grapes? One. Take a wild guess, how many different?
200.
Thousands of me,
Excuse me?
5,000 something.
About 1,000 different grapes. I can't remember all that. Yeah, chance. I use AI to help you figure out which one we actually sell. I'm gonna study those grapes.
some. So this is a prompt that Ulrich had written when he was studying for that wine exam. And it says, I'm preparing for the WSET level 2 wine exam in 4 months. I can dedicate about 5 to 7 hours per week of studying. Can you create a personalized study plan that covers all key topics like grape varieties, wine regions, winemaking processes, tasting techniques, and food pairings? So you'll notice this prompt is pretty detailed. You give it all the context of, hey, what exam are you studying for? How much time can you dedicate? How long do you have to prepare? And so once you have your prompt written out, you can click send. And you'll see how Copilot or AI is able to start almost instantly creating that weekly study plan. And you can definitely go back and forth with AI tools just because we do emphasize, thinking about your prompt and making it detailed. If you realize afterwards you missed something or you want to reiterate or specify something, you can always continue that conversation back and forth with the tool, so that way it's able to better understand that request. But most of you guys here are students, so hopefully as finals and stuff come up, you guys are able to use AI to make studying a little less miserable. But yeah.
Okay, I also use it to create flashcards, digital flashcards. I could have them on my phone. I store them and I hit play when I drive. There's a flashcards when I drive. That when I study when I drive. Using AI any way I could.
Yes. And then the second prompt that I'll show related to this is you can also use AI kind of like when creating the flashcards to create those actual study materials to help you learn those concepts easier. So I think most of us know you can prompt to ask for the tool to help explain a concept. And it's a great learning tool in that case. But for things such as like a study guide or like, a cheat sheet and stuff, AI is also great at helping with that, and it can save you a lot of time from trying to input those, like doing it by hand. But I'm gonna ask for Copilot to create a study guide or a comparison table for the main grape varieties, covered in that WSET Level 2 exam. And to include specific details like the flavor, profile, regions, styles, acidity, tannins, common food pairings. And so you'll see it's able to identify those grapes that are covered in the exam and create this table that has all of the kind of like requests that we had asked, even like the food pairings. And so this is like something you could use to help with like memorizing, studying. Yeah. Anything else to add to the,
For example, when I
Education?
went to Georgia Tech, I had to do some programming, machine learning. And sometimes they would give you a data set would be missing some data. You have to write R Python code to enrich the data. It would take me time for me to write Python code, enrich the data, complete the data, and then run the algorithm. With Gen AI, which wasn't there when I went to school. I could just plug in the data set and generate a prompt to enrich it for me. And then ask the prompt to generate the Python code. Saving me time and effort, which when I went to school, we didn't have this. That was like 3 years ago.
wow, technology, crazy. Awesome. So then once you're like starting a new topic, it is a good practice to start a new chat. So that way, the tool isn't like influenced by like the prior conversation. But now we're going to move on to some use cases related to enhancing your resume, and preparing for kind of like just job applications. Super fun. So the first prompt that I'm going to show you is I'm going to ask for Copilot to act as an expert career coach known for helping clients acquire their dream jobs and to update my resume so that I can send it to recruiters and maximize my chances of being selected for interviews. Use my current resume here. And so I have a resume uh, from Cody Fredrickson. Just a sample resume. You'll see he has all the main sections, but it is a little sparse. And then you'll see I also have this job posting that I downloaded from our company's website with all the responsibilities, qualifications, and so on. And so now, when I send this prompt and ask for Copilot to help update that resume, you'll see it gives some of that step-by-step plans. Oh, sorry. The key requirements from the job posting. It shows you what Cody's relevant experience is, and then it provides you with that updated resume draft. And so, especially with like, the job market is tough, and it's competitive. It is really important as you're applying to jobs to try to update your resume. And also if you can customize it easily for that specific job, and as you've seen with AI, you can. A lot of times it is helpful to, do that little tailoring before applying rather than doing the exact same resume for everyone or all jobs.
You show us the problem.
Yeah, of course. It was act as an expert career coach known for helping clients. And I'm happy to share out this deck afterwards as well. It will have all the prompts written on them. But I will drop that in the chat.
Your question there are AI tools that specialize in resume writing, right? Do a little bit better job than this one. That creates different resumes for you for the same role based on different prompts. And you can also format it.
So this next one I'll show is now I have my updated resume. What's next? That cover letter that we all hate writing. But with AI, it's actually gotten a lot easier. So I'm gonna ask for Copilot to take that job posting and update a resume to help me craft a cover letter that will get me noticed. Send. And so now you'll see this cover letter is going to talk about details specific to that job role. It's also going to pull like your own experience and highlight facts from it, or parts of your experience that's most relevant to that role to really help put your best foot forward in this like introductory stage. And oh. You can also use it to help with preparing for interviews. So based on like the job description, what types of questions can I expect in an interview? And if you're using certain tools, like if you're using the public version of Copilot, I believe, and also I think the paid version of like ChatGPT, a lot of them will have like that conversational AI assistant too, where if you want to like practice giving interview answers and have the AI tool kind of ask the questions, it can be pretty cool how detailed like the AI tool can provide feedback. Like it can pick up on, hey, like maybe try including XYZ in your answer, or maybe try taking a pause a little earlier, like, so definitely would highly recommend using it for that interview prep as well. But you'll see it's looked at the job description, created some like practice questions, and yeah.
Very good, Elena. I give you one tip about preparing your resume and job interviews. If you go to Glassdoor, for the company you currently planning to interview for, use Glassdoor as the input to this to help refine the sentiment of employees, folks who work there, ex-employees, to understand the manager we've been working for, and get a good idea of their personality. Help you prepare for the interview.
What's happening with that? Would you be dropping the into there, or would you replace me from?
Combination of both. You could drop the link on there, but if you go to the Glassdoor, you narrow down the role. Company normally gives you a lot of information about comments and sentiment. But what the AI tool can do is scrub through that web data. Give you some analysis. Therefore, you're gonna meet with somebody in that company who already has not such a good reputation online. Kind of know what you're walking into.
Yeah, most AI tools are able to search through specific websites or like URLs as long as it's not behind a paywall. So there's no like cheat code for getting around that. But as long as like it's nothing you have to like log into, and it's like just a public website, most AI tools are, if they're able to access the internet, you can direct them to that specific source. If it is behind a paywall and you still want AI to assist with it, the best workaround for us has been just downloading it as like a PDF, whatever's on that page, and then uploading it as a file for the AI tool to reference.
The goal is to have an edge by inputting as much information as possible. If everyone puts the same level of effort with the same prompt, they'll get the same result. And therefore, there's an AI tool used in HR to find duplicate resumes. HR is also, we're using it, HR is also using it.
So, and then finally, I'm going to show like, I guess just another example, but AI can help with crafting that like elevator pitch or those like first introductions. But really, we're trying to show you like, the possibilities are kind of like endless for AI to assist with. I really do feel like I go about my day-to-day when I'm like at work. My first thought is, oh, can Copilot or can like ChatGPT help? And if so, how? And it doesn't always have to be the whole project or the whole entire task. A lot of times like AI may only be able to assist with 20%, 30% of that task. The rest I have to do manually, which is fine, keeps me having a job. But like what's it called? like those small things where maybe you're not initially thinking, oh, AI can help, or maybe even it'll take longer to use AI than it would for me to like do it myself. I do recommend you still explore like AI for those use cases, just because you never know how or like to what extent it can help, and AI is always improving. So maybe one day it can, the next day it can. Awesome. But I have one more prompt that I'm going to show you guys. And this one, I'll actually encourage you guys to try it out on your own computers as well, in front of you. But I'm going to ask for Copilot to help me come up with a brand for myself and plan for developing that brand, and to ask me questions one at a time until you have enough information to understand my strengths and goals to identify a brand that suits me. And so for those on the Zoom, Andrea, could you drop that prompt in the chat?
I just did.
Got it. For those here, hopefully it's not too much to type, but if you guys want to try this out on like Copilot or whatever tool, let's like play around. I'll give you guys some time to explore this, and then can discuss what you guys noticed, see how accurate the branding came out.
You're doing that, I have to.
Yeah.
Just to get content. I got my PhD last year, and when I would go to the team project, you guys was really well represented. And then here I have somebody, Jersey Tech, but also getting the wine certification. Are you guys required to like use technology extensively in your role? Is your company required? And I'm always like, I thought you guys were a wine company, but you're very like tech centered.
Yes. Well, we are on the tech side of the company.
Just like a great thing.
Yeah, so all of us are on like the IT, like digital side of the company. So that does, I guess, make us a little bit more tech savvy. But I think on a whole, like the company does try to focus on making sure we're exploring new technologies and staying competitive. So I do think that's something that our leadership has prioritized, which is great.
I have one question. So sometimes when I'm using ChatGPT and I ask questions, after the answer, I ask like, is that right? Or like, how do you know this? Like to make sure it's right. Is that useful or?
Yeah, of course. I actually love asking sometimes like, hey, can you provide your sources? If it's not already, those citations that you'll see at the end of a lot of like generative AI like outputs is for me important, because I like to click on it and make sure A, it's a like reputable like source. But B, like maybe to even read it and make sure like I understand what's happening. You can also, if it's like something more process based where Copilot kind of spits out an answer and you're like, where did you get this from? You can ask Copilot to, hey, explain this to me step by step how you got here, or explain your logic or thought process. So that way you're able to see what the AI tool is doing. And if it is making a mistake, that's like normally how you catch it, where you're reading through the steps and you're like, oh, he didn't understand what I meant by this. But yeah, I would definitely like that questioning of, hey, is this accurate? Or is this like, you know, a hallucination is super important with AI tools.
That's a good question there. I wouldn't even go further. I would try Copilot, but also with Gemini. That is the same thing out there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good.
But when you do that,
With me?
oh, sorry, go on. I was gonna say, when you do that to use a different tool to compare, make sure they're running on different like models. For example, Copilot and ChatGPT both run on GPT-5 now, so their answers will be very similar if you put in the exact same prompt. So with that recommendation, trying something like maybe Gemini or Grok or Perplexity Cloud to diversify a little bit.
Meta AI and shit is down. And I Gemini and then I Copilot. But it's still.
Okay.
The best answer.
And do they vary a lot?
With me?
Do you see like a lot of difference between them?
There's a big difference between llama, and so it's llama is so much more powerful. I use it for doing statistical models for stock investments. For example, when I want to invest in stocks and I get down data and I plug it there and I know which ones are going to generate most revenue for me. But I've been doing pretty good.
Okay.
We have a question in the chat. What would you suggest for information systems students in terms of Gen AI and using it to set ourselves apart from other applicants in an internship or entry-level job?
Yeah. I would say being proactive with just learning about AI prompting on your own and not waiting until it's, I guess, like you have to learn it. That way you're able to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. I would also say, like, as you're kind of learning about what you would be doing in your future like job role, to see what ways like AI may be like applied to that, and just kind of start getting that brainstorming like started. You have any further advice?
Clear advice. Been so long. I'll take some questions.
What would you say is the entry level job for a person in IT that wants to pay?
Okay, so do you have Google in front of you?
Yes.
Go to Google, type salary for prompt engineers. Tell me what you see. Salary for prompt engineer.
Mid-60s. Well, even 125,000 to 100.
What on that then? What on that? That's your entry level. Is your answer? Learn prompt engineering.
Yes, definitely learn it. Very important.
Because you can orchestrate processes, you can create agent, you can combine agent, you can integrate tools. But also you can see when the models are hallucinating. But sometimes those models, they're gonna go a little crazy and they'll give you wrong answers. You have to be able to determine when you're not getting the correct answer. Be able to refine it. For example, we used one of them on my team for code reviews. Because we have a lot of code reviews that come in, we don't have time to review the developer's code. Therefore, we use an AI agent to scan the code for us and tell us if there's any security vulnerabilities, connections, they open, they never close. There's duplicate code. If somebody will take someone's code, copy paste it, and submit it. Now we have duplicate code running in the system. All those type of things that AI helps us detect.
They're asking me that they cannot hear the comments if you're far away, so if we can use a mic, that would be nice,
They want to hear Elena, not me.
I think.
They want to hear you, right?
Michael, just processing whatever.
Yeah, but I guess another thing to say, prompting in Gen AI is not exclusively like a technical skill, like we said. And I actually think it's probably equally important in any role to learn, whether you're like in business or IT or marketing. I think prompt engineering can still be beneficial to whatever tasks you're doing day to day. So, but for information sciences student, I think just seeing how AI can be applied in that tech field.
Are there any questions in the webinar?
We just had one. And I would say also in data analysis, there are a lot of use cases. Well, use machine learning algorithms, a lot of artificial intelligence. So data analyst could be a good entry level role you could look into as well.
Prompt engineering and data analysis, start to go back to school now. And I was starting out. I was going to prompt engineering and data analysis. I was starting out. Go ahead.
What tool do you think is like the most important to building, like when you're doing data analysis? Like, because there are businesses that are using like Power BI, others that use Tableau, so like, what do you think is like the priority?
On my team, we run both Tableau and Power BI. Okay. Both similar, but also different. But data analysis is a quick way This is really going to be.
It's for the people.
This is sort of an idea analysis, it focus on. So RBI's driving job, it's easy to get downloaded, it's free, RBI's really should to pay for. It's not that much, probably a little bit difficult to learn because they don't provide you free. Hey, but RBI, I just tell my developers when I still with Microsoft. If you know your Microsoft tools, you drive down I-95, ways to the job. Literally. Everyone is on progress rates and that Microsoft platform. If you go Microsoft, you pretty much guarantee that. Pablo, I think is a little bit difficult. The individual one is very expensive. But data analysis also learn Python. I would learn statistics. Learn statistics because if you know statistics and you know prompt engineering extremely well, you know a little bit of Python. It would be dumb. Because you can customize this beyond which by adding code to it, by adding logic to it, make the model a little bit smaller. But you limited by the linear algebra that's in those models right now. You can, a little bit of math goes a long way. Yeah, for
Do you suggest any trustable certifications or online platforms if you learn from engineering? It's valid.
Yeah, for sure. So for those online, any learning platforms that are good for learning about prompt engineering or getting certifications. So I'm not sure of any official certifications that are there for prompt engineering. But I will say LinkedIn Learning has a lot of great resources. There's also Microsoft has some great resources as well. They have some that are dedicated specifically to Copilot, but I feel like the prompting aspect, carries over to any Gen AI tool. There's also something called like Pluralsight, but I'm not sure. I guess do you guys have access to any specific free learning sites at FIU? Because I don't want to be throwing out random sites that you guys.
Leon, you mind that? You asked a good question here. I was in your situation 7 years ago and I needed to study and work up on machine learning. I needed to learn machine learning really fast, and learn AI really fast. One program I found, which actually has a certification you're looking for, you go online at edx.org, edx platform, they have a certification for prompt engineering. And they have one also for learning AI. And usually offered by some legal schools such as Harvard, MIT, on the platform. Probably emailing on that platform. Berkeley's on the platform. Some of the best schools offer the program, but they're usually reasonably priced. And it's also accredited.
Honestly, YouTube as well. Sometimes I'll click on those videos that's like 20 prompts that'll change your life. I mean, maybe like 2 might, but I feel like there's a lot of good free learning resources as well. Udemy is something that I would recommend. I haven't used it for prompt engineering education, but I've used it for other certifications and I found they can get pretty good. Or ask the AI tool, how do I get better at prompting? Use what's in front of you. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, I think Aldrich, you mentioned that you already built agents or you worked on building agents?
We built one, and then we're building 3 more. The first one we built after I met with her, she gave me some ideas and we started to implement it. But we're gonna build a few more. My goal is to build a kind of law. Reason for that is to reduce the time I spend in meetings with my team. If we could get the answers quicker without having meetings to go over the same topic over and over, I think we can save some time. Therefore, anything that's been done for smart, we're gonna collect emails system generated email. Meeting notes from meetings we've had. Sheets where we keep track of root cause analysis and resolution for things that fail. We're gonna use all those as input to start building pages.
Okay, I have a question. So right now, most of us use AI, like this for tasks, we give them tasks and they do it for us. But I have heard once that, we're gonna set the world to make AI makes decision. People disagree or agree with that because they say maybe it's biased, maybe it's not. But my question is, in your industry, where the human judgment is better replaced with?
Make judgment service will vary. What if the machines take over? But to answer your question, in our industry, I think there's something called relationship. The relationship between us and the supplier, us and the customer, that's never gonna change. That's a human relationship. Now, where the machines come in, it's in optimizing the way we work on a day-to-day basis. Which is reducing the amount of noise, the amount of routines. That's where the machines come in. For example, if we got a warehouse where we have to store cases a lot. You want somebody to go there with a forklift and a ladder and putting everything on the shelf, or you rather have that done. You go to Amazon warehouse, they almost really often. Machines are from the work. They have drones flying over. If you go to a data center that's built by Google, data center had robots going between racks and the computers. They had drones flying over. Automation piece we can scale, could do a lot more, but it does not give us. If you guys do the presentation earlier, Don said he has some repeat. I've got the number.
Oh, I wasn't paying.
117 million.
Something like that.
Nice.
There's a lot of new jobs already got. It's not gonna replace us. It's gonna have the job for the future.
I don't believe it's gonna replace us, just like, when it comes to judgment, because we're tending to rely fully on AI. And I'm not against that, I think AI is better than this, like, when it comes to computing, when it comes to data analysis, as you mentioned. But, I don't know, because I didn't work in many industries, but for example, I did, car dealership. One of the things that we couldn't deal with is understanding the market. I can tell AI to give me the average of price of a certain car maybe, or what the people tend to buy this season or that. But when it comes to understanding how the market behaves, like we bring this AI, yeah,
Buying and selling cars is such an emotional moment.
yeah, exactly.
I could buy the same car you're buying, I could $10,000 more. Because I wanted to come in another dealership, you were to negotiate to the end, you said $10,000. Yeah, I can't do it. There's still that human relationship aspect in our business, it's a lot of human relationship, suppliers and the customers. And that will never go away. AI will be used for automation, for streamlining processes.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll bring things back to here real quick as we close out. For those that were able to try out this prompt, is there anything you guys noticed, would like to share? What brand did it build for you? Did it not work for you? And if you are on the Zoom, feel free to drop in the chat your experiences as well. Happy to read them out loud. No one? Okay, no worries, but I do recommend you guys, as you're continuing on and graduating, doing all that, to really do think about what you want your brand to be. It's pretty important in whatever industry that you're deciding to join, how you want to market yourself. Is very important, so I think keep that into consideration. But so So to wrap up today's session, I really want you guys to imagine what's possible with what you learned today and when you make it your own. So generative AI isn't just a tool, it's an accelerator, it's a catalyst for transformation. So whether you're a student or a developer, someone looking for a job, an executive, regardless of that, you have the power to shape your future in ways that were impossible to do so just a couple of years ago. So what's next? Experiment boldly, try out new prompts, challenge the AI, and just see what happens. A lot of times, really cool discoveries come just from curiosity and playing around. Build your unique voice. Use AI to amplify your strengths, not to replace it. Your perspective, your story, and your creativity is what makes your work stand out. So let AI help you refine and amplify those messages that you're trying to share. And then continue learning. The world is changing fast. So use Gen AI to learn new skills, explore new fields, and to stay ahead of the curve. So yeah, today's just the beginning. The skills you've learned here today will help you unlock new opportunities and create value wherever you go. So take what you want from it, keep experimenting, and let generative AI help build your career and life if you want. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. We'll be here afterwards to answer any more questions that you may have. Happy prompting.